He stared at the napkin like it had just spoken. The words, scrawled in blue ink with a slightly shaky hand, read simply, "You matter." That was it. Just 2 words. But it felt like someone had reached inside his chest and restarted his heart. 2 hours earlier, he had been ready to end it all. Now, the napkin was on the table. He was still here. And the woman who'd written it? She had no idea she had just saved a life. Emma Reeves wasn't anyone famous. No book deal, no podcast, no million followers. Just a tired barista in a quiet Chicago coffee shop who tried to smile at everyone even when her own heart was breaking. She was 29, with a college degree she'd never used, a mountain of debt, and a broken engagement that still hurt whenever she heard love songs on the radio. Still, she smiled. She always did. Because once, long ago, someone had smiled at her when she needed it most. And it had kept her alive. Emma lived with her cat, Daisy, in a small studio apartment above a bookstore. She wore the same scarf every winter and knew her regulars by name, Mr. Brennan with the loud laugh and bad knees, Angela the teacher who always smelled like chalk, and Cameron, the silent guy who came in at the same time every Thursday, always wearing that same navy coat, always alone. She never saw Cameron smile. But she always gave him one. She didn't know his story. Didn't know he was once a corporate consultant with a 6-figure salary, who'd lost everything after a car accident left him unable to work and dependent on pain meds. She didn't know he had just sold the last thing he owned of value, his mother's ring, just to make rent. She didn't know that Thursday would be the last time he planned to walk into that coffee shop. Or that he'd already written his note and chosen his spot. She only knew he looked especially tired that day. So, when he left his cup on the table, Emma walked over to clean it like always. And paused. His notebook was open, filled with scribbled lines. His pen was still on the table. And something inside her tugged, a whisper that said, "Write something." She picked up a clean napkin, scribbled the 2 words that had once saved her own life, "You matter," and left it where he'd been sitting. Then she returned to the counter, unaware that Cameron had stopped just outside the door, staring at her through the window, hesitating. He saw her leave the napkin. Saw her walk away. And for the first time in weeks, he cried. Cameron didn't do anything dramatic. He just went home. Threw out the note he'd written. And Googled free therapy. He didn't tell anyone about the napkin for a week. But something shifted. It was like the ice around his soul cracked just enough for warmth to seep in. Eventually, he took a picture of the napkin. Posted it on a forum for mental health support with a short caption. "I was planning to end things today. A stranger left this on my table. I think she saved my life." Within hours, the post blew up. Thousands of likes. Comments from people around the world who had been there, who had almost given up, or who'd been saved by a small act of kindness. Someone from a local news station messaged him. Then another from a national outlet. Soon, the post made it onto TV. But Cameron didn't want the spotlight. He only agreed on one condition: he didn't want to show his face, and he wanted to thank the woman who left the napkin. He didn't even know her name. Emma didn't have cable. She didn't know the story was trending. She was just trying to make enough tips to pay her overdue electric bill when a woman walked in with a microphone and a cameraman trailing behind her. "Are you Emma Reeves?" the reporter asked. Emma froze. "Yes." "You left this on a napkin for a customer." She held up a printed photo of the note. Emma blinked. I think I remember that. Why? The woman smiled gently. Because it saved his life. And now the whole world is talking about you. Emma's knees buckled, and she had to sit. In a world drowning in noise, something so simple, 2 words, cut through the chaos. You matter. People started recreating it. Strangers left the phrase on napkins in cafes around the country. Kids wrote it on sticky notes and put them in school lockers. Seniors in nursing homes got cards with those 2 words from volunteers they'd never met. Someone tattooed it on their arm. Emma was invited onto talk shows. She was offered a book deal. But she turned them down, every single one. I didn't do anything special, she said in a quiet interview. I just remembered how it felt to be invisible. And I wanted to make someone feel seen. Cameron, still not ready to be on camera, sent her a letter. In it, he wrote, "You don't know me. You don't know how close I was to disappearing forever. But you made me pause. You gave me a reason to wait one more day. And because of that, I got to see my niece graduate. I got to hug my sister again. I'm slowly healing. Thank you, Emma. You matter too." Emma started something called the Napkin Project. Every month, she gathered volunteers to write messages on napkins and distribute them in diners, hospitals, prisons, and shelters. The goal wasn't to fix anyone's life, it was to remind them they still had one. That someone out there saw them, even if just for a moment. She wasn't rich. Still lived above the bookstore. Still served coffee. But now, people walked in not just for espresso, but for hope. Cameron walked through the front door of that same coffee shop. He was wearing a new coat, face thinner but eyes brighter. Emma looked up from the counter, and paused. He smiled. "Hey," he said, voice cracking. "I don't know if you remember me." "I do," Emma whispered, heart pounding. He pulled something from his pocket, a folded napkin, now worn and creased. "I kept it," he said. "It's why I'm still here." She stepped around the counter and hugged him. Tight. And in that moment, no cameras, no internet, no trending topics, just 2 people, changed forever by a few seconds of compassion. Sometimes, the smallest gestures carry the loudest echoes. A smile. A note. A napkin. When the world feels heavy, and words seem useless, remember this: kindness doesn't always fix everything, but it can change something. It can turn a goodbye into a beginning. So write the words. Leave the note. Speak the truth. You matter. And maybe, just maybe, that message will end up where it's needed most.